Tonight, a group of Whyalla parents demand more answers over the proposal for a new high school in the town, and the town of Peterborough comes alive as the main street redevelopment is officially opened.
This is Southern Cross News with Fraser Goldsworthy.
Good evening. A group of parents has banded together to demand more information about the proposed new Whyalla High School. They say they don't have many details on the plan, telling Southern Cross News they feel they haven't been consulted enough.
Plans for a new Whyalla High School announced earlier this month is provoking many mixed reactions in the community.
I had not heard anything about it, and this would, I'd say, be 10 to 14 days ago was the first thing I heard about it. And as a parent in Whyalla, I would have thought I would have heard something about it a lot sooner than that.
While the state government spruiked about its consultation this week, many parents feel they didn't get a say. While they deny they're against the project as a whole, the group says it needs detailed information on how the school plans to deal with issues such as bullying and special needs.
Children that can't go to school because they've been bullied, or children with special needs that would be overwhelmed by a school that size, you know? All these questions. What about the old buildings?
Ms Caswell says they're speaking up because their kids will eventually have to attend this new public high school. And before it opens, she says her and other parents deserve to know how it will function.
And we want to know that all contingencies, all problems that we're saying these could be problems, have been looked at and have answers before we move forward.
John Hunt, Southern Cross News.
Christmas has come early for those in the state's far north, with $3 billion of private and government investment committed to the region in the last year. Experts say businesses are set to see the flow-on effects.
It's a week away, but the Blue Lion for Port Augusta's Christmas pageant is ready to go.
It's a good way to start off the Christmas season.
It's not the only thing set to bring some Christmas cheer to the town. $3.2 billion has been invested in the region in the past year. Regional Development SA says that's expected to flow on to local businesses.
A lot of the bigger companies actually have, local content policies. So they'll commit to, say 55% local content.
The Carrapateena copper mine expansion, the Aurora project and multiple renewable energy projects are picking up where Alinta left off, with an overwhelming number of jobs expected for the region.
And 1,900 ongoing jobs coming out of just the new developments that we've listed at the moment. So it's really good for the area.
Add to that 3,000 construction jobs in the coming years expected to directly benefit local business, with more opening in the centre of town.
If you've got more employment, then people make more money, and then they invest that into their local economy. So hopefully the new shops and that is certainly a good reflection of it.
Regional Development says this year's third quarter has seen a 57% increase in house sales in Port Augusta compared to the same time last year. It's an economic gift the region has been waiting for.
I'd say it's Christmas come early, but hopefully it'll be Christmas to next Christmas, or be flowing through to next Christmas.
Amelia Simpson, Southern Cross News.
The Barrier Local Area Police Command, which encompasses Broken Hill, is set to get bigger. A re-engineering model of all commands across New South Wales has been implemented, which will see 2 new sectors join the Silver Cities.
The Barrier Local Area Command is already one of the biggest service areas in New South Wales. Now it's getting bigger.
With the new changes, will be known as the Barrier District. So in total, we take up about 25% of the land mass of New South Wales.
At the moment, Barrier incorporates 8 police stations, including Broken Hill, Menindee, Wentworth and Wilcannia. Under the new model, the state's 34 local area commands will be replaced by 26 police districts. This will see 2 more country police stations in Balranald and Euston join the new Barrier District.
Certainly looking forward to working in with those communities and the police in those areas.
The district is set to receive plenty of support from the state government.
We have the new Regional Enforcement Squad and the DV High Risk Squads forming in Dubbo, and certainly when we put up the flag and have that call for assistance, I'm sure that Dubbo will assist there.
With an increase in a service area comes the potential for more call-outs, leading to some concerns as to whether the district will be able to handle the workload. But the chief says it's not a problem.
Obviously, we're covering a very big area, and if we can work in not only with our police here in New South Wales, but we border Queensland, South Australia and Victoria, and now a further stretch of Victoria. It's about working in close with our neighbours, which we do.
Patrick Roinke, Southern Cross News.
Whyalla police have arrested another man over the use of a fake $50 note. At around 11 a.m. on Wednesday, the 18-year-old allegedly purchased food from a fast food restaurant using the counterfeit cash. He was charged with deception and was bailed to appear in court next year. Police are reminding residents and businesses who suspect they've been passed a fake note to contact them. The main street of Peterborough has been officially opened after years of ongoing upgrades to give the town a completely new look. Locals today celebrated their freshly redeveloped city, which is now bringing in tourists from near and far.
The once struggling town of Peterborough. Struggling no more. A $1.3 million upgrade bringing new life.
A start of a transition of a community that really needed some attention here.
It's really a celebration event for the community, but also for our visiting councils and our politicians to recognise how far we've come as a town, and also to really showcase what Peterborough is all about now.
The town's been transformed over the past 18 months, with new developments including Steamtown, an RV park and a facelift for the main street.
All the facades of the shops in the main street, we've undergrounded the power lines and put in lovely new light poles. We've put protuberances and gardens out the front of our cafes and some of the hotels.
Every day there's hundreds of caravans. I'm not kidding, there's hundreds of caravans going through.
With tourists now stopping in the town, the local economy's booming.
By tourism increasing, being able to stop somewhere to be able to have a coffee, to look at all the opportunities, creates more employment.
And locals are now proud to call Peterborough their home.
I was born and bred here, and I've seen it in its ups and downs, I've seen it in its heyday, and it's just coming back.
Rachel Nell, Southern Cross News.
Over 400 students across Whyalla gathered this morning to show their support for tomorrow's White Ribbon Day. Students from Whyalla High, Whyalla Town and Samaritan College Primary came together at Whyalla High. Using white cardboard, they formed the structure of the White Ribbons Foundation's logo. Local police officers also joined in to show their support. White Ribbon Day aims to promote the issue of domestic violence. Still to come tonight, fears a booming kangaroo population in the far north could harm local graziers. Details next. A failed Elliston abalone farm that operated without profit for 13 years has abandoned its venture. The business was placed into receivership in February, leaving local taxpayers fearing they'd have to foot the bill for the clean-up.
We want the people who are responsible for it to pay for it, and we got a bank guarantee out of those people when they set up the business, so we'll be calling in that bank guarantee. But any additional funds that are needed, we'll be going after those people as well. It's just unacceptable that they could walk away from a lease.
The state government expects the clean-up to cost nearly $1 million. The kangaroo population in the state's far north has exploded, according to local pastoralists. They're urging visitors in the region to be mindful of the roadside roos, with fears the population boom could harm local graziers.
They might be a furry Australian icon, but an exploding roo population isn't always good news.
But in our region, you do find, up through the Flinders Ranges particularly, quite a large number of kangaroos that have been, hit on the side of the road.
Natural Resources SA estimates kangaroo numbers are up around 5 million in commercial harvest zones, leading to a lack of feed for cattle and sheep.
That probably comes off the back of 6 or 7 really good years, good seasonal conditions, enough water around the place, there's plenty of feed around the place.
Livestock SA and commercial kangaroo field processors, along with Natural Resources, held a kangaroo management forum in Yunta.
For that reason, we try and bring, the industry together with the community to talk about what's going on, what's the situation in a particular area at this time, and what are some of the solutions that we can find.
Kangaroo culling is a contentious topic for many. While traditional landowners prefer the animal not to go to waste, commercial field processors only take what the meat industry demands.
Traditionally, landholders have done that work, but there are opportunities for landholders to say, well, look, I'll bring my field processor in who comes in and takes the kangaroos commercially, and that field processor can actually help me with some of that non-commercial destruction to reduce the numbers in an area.
The Department of Environment says it will use the results from the forum to develop pilot projects in the region. Amelia Simpson, Southern Cross News.
A Port Lincoln family is keeping a bird's eye view of endangered animals in the area. Janet Forster has created her own nest for endangered osprey birds, purchasing a barge and installing a security camera to keep a close eye on them. She's already managed to save the life of one of the birds.
If nobody had been in our office, it could have been half an hour when I replayed the vision to see where the bird was, and we would have just presumed it had flown away. But because somebody was sitting here, we were lucky enough to be able to go out and actually rescue the bird.
The outcast bird has since been returned to a new habitat in the wild. Port Pirie Regional Council has been recognised for its efforts in the redevelopment of the city centre. The town was praised for starting conversations with locals in social situations rather than in a formal setting.
A nod in the efforts of the town.
Was given a commendation for the work done on the CBD, particularly around the community engagement during the design phase.
The commendation from Planning Institute of SA recognises council's efforts of going the extra distance in order to deliver a main street which residents actually wanted to see.
The CBD, we felt that we needed to do something, I guess, a bit more dramatic, and that's why we developed the parklets, and that's why we actually held the consultation on the street.
Council believes this recognition is putting Port Pirie back on the map, encouraging tourists to come see the change the town's currently undergoing.
We're really trying to promote the mantra of come see change in everything we do, and certainly Port Pirie Regional Council is being recognised.
Stage 1 of the redevelopment saw the streetscape and design work of Alexander and Florence Street transformed, with wider footpaths, public art and new landscaping. And council's now applied for funding to see the remaining sections of the CBD upgraded as well.
We've completed stage 1 and everyone can see the impact that the centre median has had with the palm trees. Everyone's quite excited about the prospect of having that median continued down the southern section and northern sections of Florence Street.
Rachel Nell, Southern Cross News.
Still to come tonight, a touching memorial in Whyalla to those affected by asbestos. Details next. West Coast Youth has been recognised for its contribution to mental health rehabilitation on the West Coast. Its program, Mentally Fit EP, won Best Leadership and Innovation at the Community and Achievement Awards.
It was amazing to be acknowledged. Most importantly, I think for me, was that it was in the Flinders Research section. So it was a Health and Innovation Award, which means that Mentally Fit EP is being recognised for its contribution to the health sector and the health system in regard to mental fitness.
It was a double win for Mentally Fit, also winning the Community Service Award in Port Lincoln on the same night. Whyalla residents have gathered to mark the annual Asbestos Remembrance Ceremony. The emotional service saw many come together to honour those who'd lost their lives or had fallen ill from exposure to the deadly material.
From the shipyards to the steelworks and in their own homes, many across Whyalla are no strangers to asbestos. Today, those people lost to asbestos-related illnesses were remembered by their families and friends.
It is a very important day for people that have lost loved ones or some family member of some sort.
Politicians and former workers spoke of the material and how they were forced to work with it despite the knowledge it was harmful. Crosses lay on the ground representing those who've died. Family and friends also laying flowers. One by one, the names of the deceased were read out.
George Tolson, Walter Wade, John Alstrop.
Some of those people there were friends of ours. People there I didn't know only through going into the shop and them becoming a member.
While the number of crosses continues to increase, the memories of the people remain strong.
We have it in our town, we have it in our buildings. I don't think it will ever be free of it. So all we can do is help each other.
John Hunt, Southern Cross News.
With the weekend here, it's time to check in with our experts for cricket tips.
This weekend, club cricket takes a break for the holding of the Upper North Shield at Port Augusta. Saturday sees Pirie taking on Roxby at Quorn and Port Augusta hosting the defending champs Whyalla at Etzer Oval. The two winners will then play on Sunday at Port Augusta's Etzer Oval in the final. Pirie have put together a strong side and will be confident making it to Sunday's final. Good luck to the boys.
Whyalla Cricket takes a rest this weekend when we see the combined series between Whyalla, Port Augusta, Roxby Downs and Port Pirie. Whyalla will play Port Augusta on Saturday at Etzer Oval, with last year's result having Whyalla defeating Port Augusta quite convincingly. This year could be quite different with the losses of Ryan Parker, Sam Lewis and Greg Feebig. Whyalla will be looking to Scott Collison to lead from the front, Josh Ackland being in great form with the bat, and Josh Bartell makes his debut for the Whyalla side. Port Augusta will have the likes of Liam Bury, Alex Hosking, Simon George and triple centurion Josh Dunstan to lead from the front. I'm going to stick with the Whyalla boys to win on Saturday.
Welcome to this week's Port Lincoln Cricket Tips. The first match of the round sees Waybacks and Southern Air at Paul Oval. This will be a great game. Southern Air coming off their first loss of the season up against Waybacks, who are looking to get another win and push their way into the fore. Going to tip Southern Air in this game. Next game of the round sees Charlton vs Todd River at Centenary Oval. Weather permitting, this game should go ahead at Centenary and it'll be another really good game. Charlton played a couple games on the turf this year already and I think they'll be just too strong for Todd River. And in the final game sees Lincoln South and Tasman's battle it out at Ravendale Complex side. Be another good game. Tasman's knocked off Southern Air last week and Lincoln South have been reasonably consistent with the bat, just need some more runs. Going to tip Tasman's to win this one. Thanks for listening to the Port Lincoln Cricket Tips.
Round 6 of Broken Hill cricket this weekend. With the cricket competition was thrown wide open after last week's win by North over Central. Central take on South at the Alma Oval this weekend. I think Central should be too strong for South and return to the winners list. And the other game with North versus West at the Jubilee, that looks like being a cracker now that North has struck form. Tobias Hack made 100 last week at the Jube. That's his happy hunting ground. If he can get a major score for Norths again this week, I think they could just about cause the upset against West.
Well, stay with us. After the break, Abby Donaldson will have all the local weather details. And Abby, after some wintry weather for some centres today, relief is on the way.
Yes, it is, Fraser, and just in time for the weekend, and it's certainly going to feel like summer by the middle of next week. I'll have all the details next. Welcome back. Taking a look at the weather for today. It was fine and sunny for Port Augusta and Whyalla, with temps reaching the mid-20s. Similar temps for Port Lincoln and Port Pirie, but with a few showers about, and we had some stormy weather for Broken Hill, 27 the top. To the satellite now, and the reason behind some of these heavy showers and storms is because of thick cloud cover and a low pressure trough over central and eastern parts of South Australia. Taking a look at the Gulf waters for your Saturday, south-southwesterly winds tomorrow up to 20 knots, seas rising to 2 metres with a south-southwesterly swell. Sunrise is just before 6:05 and sunsets at 8:09. Well, the good news is it's looking like beautiful weather for all centres tomorrow. It'll be sunny and warm for Port Augusta and Corn, 28 the top, slightly cooler and fine in Port Lincoln and Coffin Bay with temps in the low to mid-20s. The sunshine will return for Broken Hill, heading for a warm top of 31 degrees, but it will be cooler and cloudy for Cleve, just 23 the top. And temps are on the rise over the next 4 days. That fine weather will continue in Port Lincoln, with temps hovering around the low 20s before the mercury reaches 30 degrees on Tuesday. That cloud cover is expected to clear in Cleve for a fine few days before a 32-degree day on Tuesday, and it'll be even warmer in Woodner, heading for a hot 36 degrees. A similar story further up the Gulf, with sunshine and temps rising into the 30s for the beginning of next week. A top of 27 in Whyalla for Monday and 33 on Tuesday. Temps around the high 20s for Port Augusta for the weekend, before warming up to a scorching 36-degree day for Tuesday. Sunny and 32 the top in Kadina. And finally, summer conditions for Port Pirie, with temps rising into the mid-30s by Tuesday, fine and sunny in Clare, and that warm weather will continue for Broken Hill, 32 the top for Monday. So, Fraser, we're going to feel the heat by the middle of next week, just in time for summer.
Thanks, Abby. We'll try to keep cool. And that's Southern Cross News for the working week. Thanks for your company. I'll have updates later. Until then, we'll be back on Monday. Hope you can join us then. Good night.